you have these love ballads that have been written in the 17th, 18th, 19th century, and they're formal love songs that the peasants would sing. I grew up with these songs. I come from a place in West Kerry, down in the southwest of Ireland, that is an Irish language speaking area, and I would know all these songs off by heart. My father would have sung them, my uncles would have sung them, my aunts would have sung them, my neighbours would have sung them. There's one called In Clorbuck Dale, which is about a couple, which was also quite a common theme, about a couple who had unfortunately been stuck in a situation where there was an arranged marriage and they wanted to elope with their lover, and usually it was the tradition that the woman would provide the bedclothes for the first night that they spent together. And this particular song, In Clorbuck Dale, the soft steel wood it's called, they decided to forego all those niceties and take the cheapest possible form of bed that they could, which was a deal bed, where they declare physically and verbally their passionate love for one another. And that kind of tradition you can't escape, you know. And then when I came into my own writing, the first book was The Warrior and Other Poems, and the warrior is a character who I would describe as my alter ego, the kinds of poems that I wanted to write myself, but I'd be ashamed to show my mother, you know, that kind of way. You know, suddenly I had this character called the warrior, who was strong and dominant and feminine and beautiful and passionate and obsessed with sex and physical expressions of love. And the series of poems became an exploration around a word that didn't exist in the Irish language for climax or orgasm. So I tended to have all these series of poems describing this passionate moment in a love between two people, but the words did not exist in the Irish language, you know, which was interesting. So I had license to play around with that. Also, contrary to the tradition, like early on you've got a lot of the songs and the poems where the woman is the main protagonist, as they say, not necessarily from the men's point of view. There's a lot of poems from unknown authors where the woman is speaking and is dominant, and I wanted to continue this tradition in my writing. And the warrior was the one who led the relationship. The warrior was the one who responded to the man on her own terms, but only on her own terms. And I suppose from that, it reflected my life. I was in a passionate relationship at the time, and it was easy to write about this absolute base, deep alchemy, this desire, this passion. And the lexicon was ever increasing, because the more I wrote about it, the more I realised I had different ways of describing the elements of that pure passionate love. And when that went haywire and I was left on my own, I began to write about the dark side of love, the debris of love, what is left when the love is gone, and also started exploring a love. I'm passionate about where I come from. I love the landscape of West Kerry. I love the mountains, I love the beaches, I love the fields, I love the sea, I love the people, I love my family. And a lot of the rest of my poetry concerns itself with a declaration of love for this physical beauty in the landscape, as opposed to, you know, desire between two people. So I've been tracing that, and there's kind of a theme. I was thinking about it after I was kind of going, you know, anybody who'd read the book should kind of go, well, she's getting some in that book anyway, and she's definitely not getting any in that book. And then, I'm back to square one again now. I'm going to read a few poems this evening that have to do with the darker side of love, the debris. Yeah.
Thank you very much.